Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode three. This is Julie, Natalie. I'm Angie. We're so happy to be here. Today, we're going to be talking about eye contact. And before we dive into that, just a quick intro. I'm Angie. I'm the creator of Journey to Soul, this YouTube channel, the group, if you're watching it, wherever you're watching it. I'm a creator. I'm a creator. And what I love to do is help women meet their greatness and discover their personal power, right? And step into it and create the life that they desire. And part of that, part of doing that is having conversations, having conscious conversations as we awaken to this knowing that we are actually way bigger and better than we think we are. And I think one of the big challenges that I know I experience and I know these ladies experience is parenting. Parenting as we're awakening to, or as we're like unraveling, you know, as we unlayer and unravel. And it becomes challenging, and we can sit in the struggle of it, we can sit in the challenge of it, or we can have conversations about the reality of it and activate each other and grow and share our wisdom. So that's why I'm here. That's why I love doing these conversations, and I'm looking forward to diving into today's content. Um, yeah, Natalie, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, my name's Natalie. I love having these conversations with Angie and Julie and all of you guys watching. I'm an intuitive writer and I'm just fascinated with everything about awareness and conscious awakening, and obviously parenting too. Otherwise, I wouldn't be having these conversations with these amazing ladies. And I'm working on a new book. It's 21 Days to the New Earth, and it's a lot of it is stuff that we talk about here. It's not really focused on parenting. It's more focused on self, but it's really simple steps that you can take every day, that can really help you awaken to who you really are. So stay tuned for more information on that when it releases.
How
Hey,
exciting!
very excited.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julie, and I'm a mother to an 11 and 12-year-old. I've wanted to be a parent for as long as I can remember, and becoming a parent has really changed my life. And I absolutely adore having these conscious conversations to help me expand and grow and learn in this parenting journey and this life journey. And I'm excited to talk about today's topic.
Awesome. Thank you. So, yeah, eye contact. So, some of the things that are coming up is first of all, the importance of eye contact. I think, especially with our children, right? We'll get into a conversation about that. And also, eye contact can be really uncomfortable, especially holding eye contact, right? And so, we thought we would dive in a little into like, what is that discomfort about, right? What's going on, and what are the dynamics of that within our family? Yeah, so importance of eye contact. I mean, I feel like before children, it's important to maintain eye contact, right? We always learn this. It's about body language. Like when we're communicating, there's body language, and you could be saying all the right things, but if you're not making eye contact, it's kind of weird, right? And I had this feeling yesterday, I'll say, like we have a realtor, and the first day we met her, it was like fantastic, like really fantastic. But we both got a little weirded out because she couldn't maintain eye contact, and I don't know if it was because she was late and maybe she was feeling a little flustered, and that might be why. In the end, it felt okay. Like in the end, it was fine, but it was interesting how it really shifted our perception of her, you know what I mean? So quickly, so quickly. Just because she wouldn't maintain eye contact. And I was curious about that when I was thinking about today's topic. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not sure what I think about that yet.
I really
Hmm.
think it shows a confidence in oneself to be maintaining eye contact and a discomfort in oneself if you're unable to make eye contact. I mean, that's how I've perceived it anyway. If someone's not making eye contact with me, I usually feel that there's something going on within them that is stopping them from making the eye contact.
Hmm.
Um, But yeah, it makes a huge difference in how we perceive someone if they are making eye contact with us or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that we learned pretty early on, and I'm sure you've had a lot of experience, Angie, with um, when you're counseling people for employment,
Yeah.
right? Of have maintain eye contact, face forward, don't cross your legs, like all these, I guess, um, societal rules, or not really rules, but
The
just
cues.
cues. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. And I find eye contact, I mean, it displays confidence and honesty, right? But that being said, sometimes it's really hard
Mm.
to maintain eye contact, even when you're on video calls like this,
Yes. Oh
right?
my gosh. Yeah.
And I mean, that's that other piece of the conversation of like, why is it so awkward? But this is what we learned from a very, maybe not a very early age, but like in schooling at one point, or when um, doing job interviews and stuff. It's all about maintaining eye contact, because it does have that tone of, like how you were saying earlier with your realtor, they don't maintain eye contact. It's like, what are you hiding from
What are you
me?
hiding
Right? Or
from
like,
me?
are you
Yeah.
being honest, or what's wrong? Like, kind of like avoiding,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
That's exactly what I thought was
Right.
like, what are you hiding? And then I realized that's just a judgment. Like, what are you hiding, right? And I like what
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
said,
The
Julie.
assumption.
Yeah, exactly. That you must be hiding something. But I love what the way you framed it, Julie, because you said something about like it's discomfort with themselves. Like, so for whatever reason, let's say it's because she was late and she didn't doesn't like to be late. You know what I mean? That's a discomfort with herself, and so she's having a hard time maintaining eye contact with me. It was also hard, I think, because where we sat, there was a mirror behind me. So she could see herself in the mirror. And so I think
Ah.
she was like, you know what I mean? Like that, like I thought about that. I was like, oh yeah, I was sitting behind the mirror. Last time I wasn't, you know? She had no distraction of that.
That's really
Mm.
interesting because it reminds me, the eyes are a window to the soul or a mirror,
Right.
and that's what I was thinking about with this eye contact. Sometimes it may be challenging because if we're feeling uncomfortable within ourselves, seeing that mirror or that reflection in someone else can be even more uncomfortable.
Right.
So yeah, having a mirror behind I can see that even more amplified, um, to be uncomfortable seeing.
Uh-oh. I hope we haven't lost her. Julie, I don't know what happened. Julie, you're frozen.
Face into the other per contact.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, you disappeared for a little bit there. You kind of froze. And your video's frozen. Hmm. Can you hear us? Oh
Yeah, I don't
no.
know if you can hear it.
I don't know.
Mm.
I know you
Well,
guys are
if you can
freezing
hear us,
on
Julie, maybe
me.
try plugging in. I don't know if you're plugged into the internet. That might help.
Mm, I can't.
Oh, oh, you're back.
Yeah, you're sort of back. Okay, you're moving now. We're seeing you move. So
Oh my.
yeah, we missed what you were saying there.
About the mirror image.
Yeah.
About being uncomfortable, if you're already uncomfortable within yourself and then
Yes.
having
And then
that
having a
mirror
mirror.
reflecting to you as well can be quite a challenge. I mean, even in someone else's eyes, but then having a mirror behind you could really amplify that discomfort, right? So it's like, where do I even look? Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and actually, I was thinking about eye contact this past weekend going to the Festival of Friends, and I love making eye contact with people and smiling,
Mm.
um, and getting a smile back in return, that energy exchange, that good energy exchange. But at times, I don't feel comfortable to do that. And again, that's just with whatever's going on within me. Sometimes I will find myself making eye contact and then turning away quickly,
Yeah.
right? Rather than making that smile. Um, happy, I, I
Oh
can
no.
smile with people. And as I've said before, with the most unhappy looking faces are the most satisfying smile. Right? It just takes some simple eye contact and a smile sometimes to do that.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of it is, and even me, like even on this film, like I feel like my eyes are always like going somewhere else. Um, so I wonder if it's a combination of, again, what's going on inside of you, right? Like maybe you're just feeling uncomfortable with something inside of you, and also like the assumption that you have maybe towards the person that you're trying to maintain eye contact with, right? Maybe if you're again, it's assumption, right? Whatever are we assuming makes us uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Right? If we're assuming they're thinking something of us or whatever, then that can make us uncomfortable.
Mm.
And as you were saying too, like even on the video chat, feel like my eyes are going here and there. It also reflects thinking as well. If we're
Yes.
not making eye contact, like I'm up here thinking, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Or channeling information. Like when you're channeling information, like I tend to look up, like when I'm channeling information or I'm trying to reach for, like, clarify the information I'm getting, you know?
Yeah, I noticed that
Right,
too.
and
Yeah,
it
my
works.
eyes go up like kind of at an angle. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll see it on the videos too, and it makes me
Yeah.
laugh.
I wonder sometimes, like people that are like it's other people on videos, sometimes, comparisonitis, right? But I see them like they're so focused on the thing, and I'm like, I just can't. I don't know. I just can't focus on the little hole.
Right, yeah, the little
Right.
camera, yeah. So how do we, so when it comes to children, do we, should we proactively teach eye contact, or is this something that we should just practice as parents, um, and they'll kind of follow along as they do with many other things, right? What do you guys think?
I think it's worthy of a conversation.
Well,
I'm curious about it with myself because Alice, when we're having a conversation that isn't going her way, which feels like it seems to happen often, she does not want to make eye contact. And we struggle because it's like it we struggle with, like, Kyle will be like, it's so rude, and I'm like, she's not doing it to be rude. And so sometimes we end up almost shaming her for this behavior, but I don't know how to, like, that's something I'm curious about, the conversation, what you guys have to offer about how would you what do you think is important to tell your children about eye contact and why it's important, because that's what we're talking about, right? The importance of eye contact, but why is it important, and what could I tell her about that situation? Like, she
Mm.
just
so this
completely
conversation
stops
has.
looking at me.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
No,
finished.
sorry. No, go on.
Oh, what were you saying? I missed the last thing you said because I was talking over you. I was interrupting.
No, I was actually thinking out loud. I think I was just sort of still like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what I say to her. Like, yeah, I don't even know what I said. So go ahead.
So that I've had with my kids since they were pretty young because I always that when we're looking at each other. So if you know when they're young and they're all over the place and I'm trying to explain something to them, or even now, um, if we can maintain eye contact and look at each other, then we both automatically know that we're listening to one another. So it's just a yes, I'm listening to you is kind of what comes up in my family.
Mm.
Um, And from the time they were very young, like I always, something that's coming up in my head is crossing streets. And this isn't about eye contact, but about looking. I always sang a song, stop, look, and listen. No cars coming our way. Crossing the street every single time. So it's similar into having conversations. It's like stop, look, and listen. And that eye contact just communicates with us that, yes, I am listening to you. And for myself, making that eye contact so they know that I'm listening to them as well. When they were younger, well, now they're as tall as me, but when they were younger, getting down to their level, making that eye contact helped them to know that I was listening to them and stopped some, I'm sure, stopped some explosions of frustration um, happen if I wasn't necessarily listening to them. Definitely some my children from a young age. We
You're kind of breaking up.
know.
I know last time it was the sound, right? Now it's the
Yeah, that's
internet.
okay.
That's okay.
I
Yeah.
love what you said, Julie, of the stop, look, and listen. And it made me think when we're doing those things, when we're looking in someone's eyes, when we're actively listening, we're present with them, right? So maybe this is why it's so important. Because again, we're told, it reflects honesty and it reflects, I don't know, whatever else we said at the beginning. But maybe going deeper, it represents like we're actually being present with that person. And maybe when we look away, it's because we're not comfortable being
Being present.
present in that moment, right? Because there's something that's triggering our ego or our thoughts are going off in another direction. We want to distract ourselves, right? Because maybe there's something there that we don't like.
Or maybe we've made an assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's you like that hits it for me actually. I wrote down while Julie was talking, you know, the yes, I am listening to you. And I realized like she doesn't do it, right? And that's what I get upset about because she just gives into reaction right away and reaction makes her turn her eyes away, which I guess
Yeah.
that's the insight. Reaction makes you immediately not want to look at the person, right? And so she's always in this reaction mode. But I'm realizing like I'm not very present. This is something I actively work on as a parent to be more present with my children. And so I'm not very present. And so I'm not really modeling it for her. I don't know that I run away. I think I need to pay attention a little bit more now after this conversation, which is why I love these conversations. Usually I walk away really observing, you know, my behavior
Mm-hmm.
in my family, and I don't know that I'm giving her that message. Yes, I am listening to you.
Yeah. Because then maybe that person on the receiving end would feel a little bit more comfortable maintaining eye contact even for a second, right? Because
Yeah,
they're like, oh, they are listening, right?
yeah. And what about when I'm reactionary? Like if I'm
Mm.
reactionary, I'm curious, what do I do? Like, do I drop eye contact?
Yeah. Or does the other person drop eye contact because it's like, whoa, something's going
Right.
on here, right? It
Right,
makes
which
us
could be a
uncomfortable.
cue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really interested to observe this in my own dynamic because it's a problem. It's funny when we came up with this topic of eye contact, I wasn't thinking about this at all.
No.
Like I wasn't thinking about this sort of problem I seem to have. Julie seems to be totally frozen. I haven't seen her. Can you hear us,
Oh,
Julie?
am I really?
Oh, your screen is frozen.
I
It's just it
can.
hasn't moved at all.
We can hear
Oh,
you.
we hear you.
Oh no. Well, hopefully, am I making a funny face?
No.
Not too funny, no.
on the frozen screen. Oh, that's too bad. I don't know what's going on with these connections here.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll get it these days. Yeah, I all this information we're not necessarily prepared um, or thinking of previously, and I feel exactly the same as you, Angie. That it really makes me more aware of how I'm living in my life right now and gives me the opportunity and the personal power to make choice and change if I feel that is the best route to go.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
talk about that all the time. Like, it always serves. It always
Yeah.
serves. Right after these conversations, we always make so many cool observations.
Yeah. Because there's
Yeah,
always
and
something
and I
to
love
adjust
bringing
in our
up
life.
being yes. Yeah, there's I mean we're constantly learning, growing, expanding. Um, and these conversations really give us the opportunity to put a lens on our own behavior and how we want to choose to show up and in turn show up in the world for our children. Um, I love you were saying as well because I mean that is the best thing we can do is show our children by example, model it for them. We can speak and tell them to look at us and make eye contact with us till we're blue in the face, but if we are not setting that example and showing them how to do it, then who will, right? How will they learn? And something else that
Yeah.
kind of came up for me was making eye contact. I was thinking of making eye contact with people on the street and smiling at them, and sometimes not wanting to make eye contact, I realized for myself, is not wanting to be seen. So, yeah, I just kind of go about my way and don't make eye contact because I don't want to be seen. I don't want to have a conversation or whatever it may be. I mean, I've probably made eye contact with people and turned around quickly and gone the other way, just to avoid any conversation or contact. So, again, making this eye contact always reflects what's happening
Us.
internally and it's not reflecting on who the other person is.
Yeah, this conversation really is pointing to that. Really, like a big takeaway is that the big takeaway is it never is about another person. It's about us.
Yeah.
And so you
Yeah.
notice, like, I love how you brought in that eye contact with strangers because it's true. I could have a day where I am talking to all the strangers, and making eye contact with them. And then the next day, because I'm in a different state, I will not. I will hide. Yeah, I will totally hide. I'll pretend I don't see people. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's so uncomfortable.
I
And
hear
so it's that
that.
discomfort's really interesting, isn't it? It's really
Yeah, because it's
interesting.
based on what you're living right now, right? What thoughts you're having, like what vibration you're in. There's just
Yeah.
so many layers.
It's a big opportunity. I think it's a big opportunity when you like yeah, I just think there's a really big opportunity when you recognize that you're not making eye contact with your children, with your partner, with, whoever, right? With the public. It's a really brilliant opportunity to start looking at, oh, that's interesting, right? We don't beat ourselves up. We talk about this all the time. We don't beat ourselves up. We just notice it and we accept it. Okay. I don't feel good making eye contact today. I wonder what that's about. And just get curious. I've
Mhm.
never thought of this as an opportunity, so I think it's so brilliant that this conversation came to this.
Yeah. And when you're having conversations, especially with your family, right? Because we're around our family so often, this is where this is going to come up. Why don't we also start noticing when we're cool with eye contact
Yeah.
and when it starts to feel like too much, right? Is it a certain amount of time? Is it maybe like a time of day, right? Maybe at night you're just like your emotions are tired, your body's tired, or maybe it's different types of topics that if you're asking maybe a simple question, then it's easier to maintain eye contact. But
Yeah.
maybe if they're asking you something and you know you're going to say no, then you avoid the eye contact, right?
Mm, I like that. And I love looking at the positive.
Mm-hmm.
Like why might it be cool? Why are you cool with the eye contact right now? Right? Notice that too.
Yeah. And try and replicate that
Yeah.
later on, right? Replicate that feeling.
I've been really consciously trying to make eye contact with my children lately to let them know that I am listening and that I do care what they have to say, because often I would just have them kind of follow me around as I did my stuff. Well, I'm like, okay, just follow me and I'll do my things and you can just talk to me. So it's more like they're talking at me and I'm not giving them my attention. So, what does that make them feel? I started thinking, how does that make them feel about how I'm valuing them, about how I'm valuing our time and our communication with each other. So I've really been making a conscious effort that when they are talking to me, I am stopping and looking in their eyes and listening. And as you said, Natalie, sometimes, depending on what it is and the situation, I may start getting uncomfortable with this eye contact or just not wanting to make eye contact anymore. Um, and a lot of it can have to do with, again, me assuming what they're going to say or just being tired of the conversation and the topic. My oldest son loves to share information, and sometimes I've heard it and sometimes I don't want to hear it. And my younger son has a harder time communicating. At times it'll take him longer to communicate his thought, and he will repeat it because he feels unheard. So I'm trying to make eye contact and give him that time to express what he needs to say. But we had the conversation today too. Like, you've repeated this to me a few times and I understood it and I heard it the first time. So I guess sometimes even eye contact, stopping and looking and listening is not enough for him to feel heard. This is just coming to me right now. And I'm not sure why, but I'm going to be analyzing it more as the days go on now that we've had this conversation. Um, yeah, so it's very, very interesting. What a huge topic. When we first said we were going to discuss this, I thought, oh, I wonder, are we going to have a lot to talk about? It seems so simple, but it's so complex.
Right? It is.
It is.
And I'm always parallel with you, especially with your youngest, Julie, like with my oldest, right? And it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder too if that's not enough for her either, and what would be enough. So
Right.
I'm interested in hearing your own observations of that.
This just came to me, and this is something I did from the time they were young, and maybe it's still necessary, repeating back what they've said as well, so they know that I've heard what they've said. Stephen, my oldest, not so much. There's so much information. But Grayson, because he's not feeling heard, even when I am looking at him and I'm listening to him, making the eye contact, maybe just repeating back to him what he's said so he knows, okay, I have been heard, because that happened just today. I think he repeated something 3 times to me. And finally, I said to him, this is starting to make me feel frustrated and overwhelmed. I heard you the first time. I understood, and then repeated it back to him. And then later on, actually, we had an experience like it just happened, and then he wanted to repeat it to me again. What happened? So he did. This is what happened. And I explained to him, I don't need you to repeat it to me because I just experienced it, wouldn't understand. And I repeated what happened in my perspective to him again. So it's very interesting that he's not feeling heard, even though I'm giving him those social cues, or I'm making the effort to give him the social cues. So yeah, maybe repeating back, I think I'm going to be working on that with him.
yeah, affirming to him that you are listening, that not only are you listening, but you're understanding his point of view. Maybe that's what he
Right.
needs,
Yeah.
right?
It just made me think, sometimes maybe I could be making eye contact but completely zoning out.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Maybe he
do
could
that.
recognize that, right?
Well, our kids know us really well, right? Because they live with us.
Yeah, they
And the
do. They're
ego's
our
tricky.
biggest
The ego is
reflection.
tricky. Like the ego knows how to play these things. Like you know what I mean? So make eye contact, but then yeah, check out. They know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Our
I do
eyes
that.
are that mirror, are that reflection, and maybe that's part of the discomfort. I think that is part of the discomfort of looking in each other's eyes. um, we don't necessarily want to see what may be uncomfortable for us.
Hmm. I'm really
Oh.
looking forward to observing this.
Hmm.
Yeah, any final thoughts? Like it feels pretty complete. Oh, thank you. I just got delivered some coffee.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and I mean, not to have like a deep point, but maybe it's a good way to end it and maybe have a different conversation about it in the future. But so we've talked about like the uncomfortableness, like the physical uncomfortableness of looking into holding someone's gaze, right? Looking into their eyes. But also we also touched on just right now, like the eyes are the mirror to our soul, right? So when we're looking like at someone and you're like really zoned into their eyes, you see their soul, you see God, you see the universe, and it's endless. And maybe it's also that endlessness that freaks us out a little, right? That infinity, because you really do see infinity in someone's eyes.
And that's big. That feels big
Yeah,
because it
because
is.
you can't
It
define
is
it, and people love
huge.
defining things, right?
Oh my god, the ego loves to define.
Ah,
The ego's not comfortable if it can't label it and define it and put it in a box.
mhm,
It's a threat then.
yeah.
Wow. Really, who knew? Who knew this topic would bring so much?
That was my final thought. I don't know about you ladies to
Yeah.
round off this conversation.
I think we're good, but anybody watching, I would love for you to share your own thoughts about this. How do you see eye contact? How have you been observing this? Do you have thoughts about this in your own experiences? We'd love to hear about it. Because the conversation never ends here. It keeps going. We'll bring it back again, right? All right. Well, we'll bring that to a close. And bye, everyone. Oh, and everyone,
Bye.
if you like our video, please like our video, subscribe. Um, yeah, we premiere every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And our information is down below if you want to reach us, if you want to learn more, grow with us, expand with us. All right. Bye.
Bye.